Alright, so now let's take a look at the earphones themselves. Now, since part 2 is going to be all about the sound quality, I figure I would also talk about the physical appearance of the Mavericks themselves too in this video. So you have the faceplate here. I have to say these are really gorgeous looking earphones. I really like how it's got like a brushed silvery finish as its faceplate, and on the left earpiece it says Maverick right here. On the right it says UM, obviously stands for Unique Melody. Now, even though these are very beautiful faceplates, and I can totally see these being, well, lasting longer than the faceplate on the UE900s. Like, you can see the paint is basically totally gone. You still got like a little bit of black here. But then I did have these for over 3 years, actually 3.5 years, so I guess that's to be expected, kind of, not really. Now, even though these are really beautiful earphones, if you look very closely, in person I can see that the faceplate actually doesn't cover the entire face of the earphone, I guess. Yeah, this part, the faceplate really doesn't cover up the entire face. Anyway, that's really just a small problem. Like, I don't really mind it, but I just want to point it out. Now, the shell itself is made of acrylic. Now, at this sort of price range, over $1,200 US, you expect to find better quality, like magnesium in the Sony earphones, stainless steel with things like, RJ, or maybe even wood, but these are made of acrylic, so I kind of wish these are made of more premium materials. But then I can see why they use acrylic, because if you look at the earphone, the shell, you can see this little curvature. Now, this curvature may be kind of difficult to sort of manipulate or produce using other materials, but with acrylic, obviously acrylic is heavily used in making custom in-ear monitors, the shell for the custom IEMs, so I can see why they would just stick with acrylic for the shell. But this is like a very shiny, kind of slippery acrylic finish. And something I actually forgot to point out in the unboxing video is that if you look very closely at the shell, you can see the serial number and the model number, and the model on the left and the right. So on the left, you see those things in blue, and on the right, you see the same thing in red. Now, here is the biggest problem I have with the design of the shell. So let me just take away the Ultimate Ears ear tips. Now, focus. It's trying really hard to focus, but it's like I'm focusing, but I'm not. So, hopefully this is good enough. So, inside the nozzle, you'll find 4 bores. Now, these bores look like they are just plastic tubes being shoved right into the nozzle. Like, if you tell me these are handmade earphones, I can totally believe that, because like these these bores are really poorly inserted. Like, they look like they come from the same plastic tube, and the people who made them just cut the tubes into 4 shorter tubes and just shove them right in. This is really ugly looking, I have to say. You can see 4 bores, 3 bores up here, and that's actually another bore down below. So, I kind of wish I wish they included the bores into the shell's design. So, let me just put on the tips. Alright. That time was pretty easy. Now, if you look at something like the UE900, you can see that the bore, there are actually 2 bores. So, the balls are actually integrated into the design of the shell. So this is what I like to see and I expect to see on IEMs, especially IEMs at this sort of price range, like over $1,200 US. Now, I think that the newer Unique Melody earphones like the Martian actually has the balls integrated into the shell, so that's great news. Another thing I want to point out about the shell's design is that even though these are really gigantic compared to the Ultimate Ears shell, these are actually very comfortable to wear, and they give me perfect seal every time. Like, I really enjoy putting these on, as weird as that sounds. Like, at this sort of size, you would expect these to be very intrusive, but no, these actually sit very perfectly inside my ear. So I think they have done a great job making universal shell that fits like custom IEMs. I really like that. Alright, so let's now talk about the cable. Now, the Maverick uses the 2-pin connection for connecting to the cable, and that's actually very common in custom IEMs. For universals, you usually find the MMCX connection. So with the 2-pin connection, you can't turn the earpiece around, and that actually makes putting these on quite a bit easier than the MMCX connection. And some people actually pointed out that the 2-pin connection is more durable than the MMCX connection. I don't have a problem with the MMCX connection though, so that's that. I however think that I actually received a different cable than what you would normally get. So normally you would get a cable that has a plastic piece, and inside the plastic piece you will also find a metal wire that helps shaping this part of the cable for hanging the cable like above your ear or around your ear. Now, usually you would see a transparent plastic piece, but right here I have the black version, and this plastic part is actually quite a bit shorter, so that's that. I do wish this plastic piece is a bit longer, because basically if I put these on, the cable would just go down like this, but if the plastic piece right here is a little bit longer, it's going to provide a little bit more strain relief when the cable goes down. So I'm a little bit worried about this part right here. Right now I'm not getting any problem with it, so that's that. Now, another thing I want to point out about the cable is that well, obviously the Maverick uses the 2-pin connection, and this connection right here is actually extremely tight, so tight that I can't even pull the cable out from the earpiece. So, this could either be a good thing or a bad thing. Good thing is that you don't want the cable to come loose from the earpiece, because if that happens, you're actually going to get like audio hiccups. So you don't want that. Now, the bad thing is, if you want to replace these cables, it's going to be a pain, like a giant pain, because as you can see, this part is very small, and obviously when you're pulling the cable, you don't want to be actually pulling the cable themselves, like the metal wire. You want to be pulling on the plastic part, but since the plastic part is so freaking small, so replacing the cable is going to be a giant hassle. So yeah. Now, for comparison, I have right here, once again, the Ultimate Ears UE900. Now, as you can see in this video, I actually use these for a lot of comparisons, and the reason is because these have been my daily driver for the last 3.5 years, and so obviously I'm going to compare these to these a lot. I mean, these are my daily drivers, so I expect these to become my new daily driver. So obviously I'm going to do a lot of comparison between these two. So again, this one uses the MMCX connection, which some people find to be a bit more difficult to use because the earpiece and the cable doesn't stay in place. Like, you can swivel the earpiece around. So this might be problematic to some people. I don't have a problem with it. I've used these for the past 3.5 years, so I'm used to it. Now, if we compare the cables closely, I would say that, well, obviously the cable on the Maverick is actually thicker, and if you look at the individual strands in this sort of double helix knitting, I mean, even the individual strands are thicker on the Maverick than compared to the UE900. So when knitted like this, obviously this cable is going to be thicker than this one on the Ultimate Ears. The knitting is not quite as tight as the knitting on the Ultimate Ears. So actually these cable, the cable on the Maverick is quite a bit softer. So if I just do this, this is very soft, okay, and to be honest, feels a little bit flimsy. But on the Ultimate Ears, this is a little bit stiffer, and because this cable is a little bit stiffer, this one is actually a little bit more resilient to tangling than the cable on the Maverick. But you know, with this cable, it is very soft, and it does feel a bit flimsy coming from the Ultimate Ears cable, as well as the Shure cable. The Shure cable is basically extremely resilient, because on top of the cable you also get like a plastic sleeve. So those are very resilient, but then I still managed to break those. So that's that. Now, along the cable, you will also find a choker. Now, I would say that after opening these, getting these out of the box, sorry, the cable actually feels a bit sticky, and since these cables are thicker than the Ultimate Ears cable, using this choker is actually a bit more difficult, because obviously these are a little bit thicker and they're actually a bit slicky right out of the box, so they do provide more friction to the choker. So when you use the choker, you really do have to apply a little bit more force to pull the choker. But right now, after owning these for like 1.5 weeks, the cable actually became less sticky, so that's good. That means I don't have to use that much force to adjust the choker. But this is still not as smooth as the choker on the Ultimate Ears. Like, this is extremely smooth. But I would say that the choker on the Ultimate Ears actually look a little bit cheap. It's just a plastic tube, so it looks a little bit more robust on the Maverick. So after the wide split, obviously the two cables that goes to the left and the right earpiece come together into another bigger double helix. And for the audio jack, you have a right angle jack, which I'm a fan of, because usually with a straight angle jack, they don't provide as great of a strain relief to the cable. And when you have these plugged into your devices, a straight angle jack will actually stick out more than a right angle jack. So I really like this right angle jack. I think Unique Melody has gone with the right decision, going with the right angle jack. So that's very good. Alright, so that's it for my part 1 review of the Unique Melody Maverick. I think I've said basically everything I wanted to say about the Maverick. except for the sound quality, which I will talk about in the second part of this video. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely give this a like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about these earphones, and definitely ask those in the comment section below. And finally, look forward to the second part of the video. I'm going to compare these earphones to my daily driver, the Ultimate Ears 900, UE900, as well as the very popular Shure SE846. Now, the reason why I'm going to do comparison between these to those is because those earphones are more well-known, more popular, a lot more people have those, so I think this is going to be that video is going to be a pretty good comparison, and from that video you'll definitely see how these are different from those earphones and why these earphones are also worth a listen. Like, if you do happen to go to Japan and you're into audio gear, definitely give these a listen. Like, these are really good. In the unboxing video, I already told you that I actually didn't give these earphones a lot of listen. Like, this is sort of like last minute purchase, but I didn't regret it. Like, because immediately after I put these on, I was immediately impressed by the sound quality out of these. Even though I don't like the Mavericks, even though the Mavericks is supposed to sound like the Maverick. So anyway, so that's that. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, ask your questions in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the part 2 of this review.